Hi there, welcome to the project. This is my fifth and final model in Series 1 of my Battlegrounds project. This is the factory. The clone attack has taken them to the bunker, through the tunnels, then arriving at the hangar, also while taking down a couple of transports too. The journey brings them to their final objective, to take down the droid factory itself. This factory is my biggest model yet, and I'm super happy with what I was able to come up with. There are so many cool details and parts featured picked directly from the source material. The main function of the model also allows you to build your own B1 battle droid. You will be able to take the droids you own and put all the parts out onto the factory and simulate the droids being built. Here is a general overview of the model. I wanted to really capture the scale of the factory and pack as many of the different parts of it you can see in Attack of the Clones into one large model. There are two main towers that make up the bulk of the model. They connect to two parallel conveyors and hold up a smelting line on one side. I mainly used reddish brown for the bulk of the parts, with an accent of dark tan, as I felt it captured the source material the best. I also used dark brown in places to give more subtle accents. After securing a transport to take them into the depths of the factory, that model will be coming later, they arrive at the platform. The platform is a large assembly area where this factory conveyor starts and ends. The droids fresh from assembly arrive here and can be set up on the transport to take them to the hangar. I wanted to have the platform smoothed off as much as possible while still holding space for minifigures. As you can see, there is a ton of space to set up a full scene and bring this behemoth of a model to life. Let's take the figures off so we can go into more detail. The platform is a separate build which is attached using Technic pins and some brackets and tiles. I aim to make it modular too, so you can add more conveyors and extend the factory more. I have a few more ideas for extra modules to attach to make the factory even bigger. The platform itself is quite large and was a key part to add. I wanted something to have at the end of the conveyor instead of it having it lead to nothing. Seeing these platforms in the film, it made sense to have some sort of assembly area for shipping out fresh troops. The platform has a console in the middle to help control the factory conveyors and machinery. Next to this is a furnace build, which is the beginning of the whole factory line. On the back here, you can see the Technic pins and brackets which connect to the main factory build. The pins usually are good enough for a secure connection, but for the scale of both models, I wanted to have a bit more reinforcement, which is why I included the brackets. On the front, I included some vent style details to give some more decoration and to add more industrial flair. There are also two canister builds on the right for extra detail. The platform would have been very plain without these little details, and you can also put many more from either your own design or the other models in the series. I wanted to have this be the main hub area of this factory, so I designed a console to sit at the bottom of the first tower. This console controls the conveyors either side of it, which the clones can use to shut down this part of the factory. I wanted to use dark red for the furnace colour to break up the consistent reddish brown usage. I also feel like it was the most accurate colour from the source material. The door opens and you can put in the slider, which is a key component of the build. Removing the roof of the furnace will give access to the inside and we'll be able to push the slider down the conveyor track. The sliders represent the parts of the droids moving down the conveyor line and can be transported around the entire track system. The conveyor sliders are something I actually forgot to include in the final model, so I'll be linking instructions and parts to build those separately on my rebrickable page. They are a very simple design, but I think it captured well what we see in the film. The two orange tiles represent the liquid poured into the mould and ready to move down the line to be shaped into the droid parts. You can put the slider into the furnace and close the door, and we will come back to this later on. Taking a look at the main factory, you can see that the scale is massive. The towers are very tall and have many extra parts sticking out of the sides to break up the rounded panels. The main structure does use a lot of Technic to make sure it was sturdy and could stand freely. The conveyors are tiled off completely to let the sliders move down the track fully and simulate the actual conveyors seen in the film. I really like how congested these angles of the build are, as it really helps to capture the confined space that Anakin was in whilst trying to escape the droid factory. The height of this build is something I found really important. I wanted to do my best to represent the scale of the factory from the film. The factory is meant to span through the vast caves of Geonosis, so being able to capture this height was a big achievement. You'll see many of these extra parts around the towers. These details are all things I spotted in the source material, and I did my best to replicate them in my own way. These canisters and what I believe are signal relays really bring that little bit of extra detail to the model. The conveyors themselves have robot arms along the edge to attach the battle droid parts together. I used parts like ski poles to accurately represent the needle-like parts. Here I used roller coaster track pieces to include an overhang that gives more dimension to the model. I have also used Technic axle and bar pieces to have as rails which hold the droid parts for attachment. The conveyor on the other side with the furnace has a lot larger machinery. I tried to replicate the source material as best I could. This part of the factory is where the initial moulds are made for the droid parts. We see Anakin and Padme fighting their way through these various machines in the film and doing their best to survive. This conveyor is tightly packed with the various machines, and I think it helps to recreate the claustrophobic environment they found themselves in. Plus, not only do these parts look good as a display, but are functional too. You can simulate these machines moulding the parts or attacking Anakin if you want to. Above this is the smelting line, which I thought was a must-have. I originally was going to have this as a separate model, but its inclusion is great as it starts the entire process of the factory itself. The rail system holds a lot of weight, but it is structurally sound. I added these Geonosians using transparent pieces to make it look like they're flying around and guarding the factory. It adds a nice touch to the model if you have some. Taking them off, we can now go into some smaller details. These canisters all over the towers on the model are made up of rounded bricks and some modified plates. I included this small light detail in this conveyor to light up the track. These large Technic rings are used to simulate the rings seen on the conveyors in the film. Using ball joints on the robot arms was crucial to allow posability so you can simulate the arms building the droids. They are fully posable and look really nice. There are a few of these throughout the build and 3 different variants. This small build is a panel which is featured all around the factory in the film. and I have a few scattered around this build. This build in the centre of the conveyors is a small rack for the droid heads to sit, and above is the rail for the bodies to be held. On the towers, I featured these small signal relay builds. I spotted these in reference images, and I thought the pop of blue colour really stands out, and I wanted to include them. This robot arm uses a fencing sword as the main part, as I thought it had the needle-like look and comes out really real. The cutter build uses a Technic pin without friction, so it can freely fall up and down and give the full motion. I used angled plates to try and capture the razor sharp edge. The crushers here are quite large and feature a lot of parts. I used Technic axles to have the crusher to be able to slide up and down and make the crushing motion. Above this conveyor is the smelting line. 3 large pots are suspended on this rail track and can slide along towards the furnace. In the pots are some orange and transparent orange parts to simulate the molten lava in the pots. The pipe on the end acts as a nozzle to distribute the magma into the furnace. Now let's reattach the platform and go through the droid making process. The smelting pot moves across the rail and will distribute the magma into the furnace to create the mould. Taking off the roof, you can push the slider through the main furnace door. Slide down the conveyor and use all the tools available to cut the mould properly. The droid arm is used to etch in the shape of the part being made. The cutter is then used to slice off the excess and make the right shape of the part. The crusher is then going to push the mould into the final shape and then set it off to be assembled with the other parts. It may not be entirely accurate, however I wanted to be able to put in as many aspects of the factory as I could into this model. At the end of this side of the conveyor is the turntable. This connection is the same connection that the platform has on the opposite side of the model. Once you take off all the tiles on the side, you can rotate the slider round to the other conveyor side. Then put the tile on the brackets on the other side to clip it into place. Then you can replace the 1x2 orange tiles with the B1 droid legs to start putting together the droid fully. Once the legs are on, you can start sliding down the conveyor. Now it's time to start attaching parts together. Take a body from the rail above and put it onto the legs. Then use the robot arms to secure it into place. When you've attached the bodies, you can then grab a head from the rack below and attach it to the bodies. Once again securing into place with the droid arms. Despite the fact the robot arms aren't actually doing anything, this is exactly the sort of imagination I want to put into these builds. Adding these details just brings it all to life and can make a display all the more eye-grabbing. After attaching everything, you now have 2 full B1 battle droids. Once you're at the end, the droids are ready to ship out or go straight into battle. You can remove all the accessories on the conveyors and also customize with extra spots for more parts using the clips and hinges. The crushers feature these T-joint pieces, which you can fold out to keep the crusher suspended in the air and have it not just fall to the ground. You can fold them back in when you want to use the crusher in the assembly process. If you want to remove any of the pots on the smelting line, you can remove this piece on the end to allow all the pots to just slide off. I'm really happy with the details on the smelting pots, with the lights and arm details on the side. I think it captures exactly what we see in the film, with the extra nozzle on the bottom to help it fit into this build. I couldn't actually fit this model fully into my desk space, so I had to remove this top antenna on the larger tower, so just wanted to show this here. Altogether, I'm incredibly proud of this build. After so many prototypes over the years, I'm very happy I finished up with this design. I really tried to stay faithful to the film, and the droid factory sequence in particular. Putting all these figures onto the model is a wonderful sight, and you can create so much with this. At the back here, you can get a peek at my first of a few additional models which I'll be releasing soon, the factory transport, used to carry out the newest troops to the hangar and then out to the transports. And with that, Series 1 is complete, and Series 2 is almost finished as well. Instructions for this model and all others are available on my Rebrickable page, which will be linked in the description. If you liked what you saw with this series, then check out my Patreon, where I'll be posting add-on models and some original concepts for the models. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks for supporting the project.